Today we're hearing from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 16, text 32. And it says, although Sepa was born in the Bhargava dynasty, he was greatly advanced in spiritual life, and therefore the demigods involved in the sacrifice protected him. Consequently, he was also celebrated as the descendant of Gadi, named Devarata. Text 33. When requested by their father to accept Suna Sefa as the eldest son, the elder 50 of the Madhuchandas, the sons of Vishwamrita,
Vishwamitra. Vishwamitra.
did not agree. Therefore, Vishwamitra, being angry, cursed them. May all of you bad sons become malechas, he said, being opposed to the principles of Vedic culture. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. In the Vedic literature, there are names like Malecha and Yavana. The Malechas are understood to be those who do not follow the Vedic principles. In former days, the Malechas were fewer, and Vishvamitra Muni cursed his sons to become Malechas. But in the present age, Kali Yuga, there is no need of cursing, for people are automatically malicious. This is only the beginning of Kali Yuga, but at the end of Kali Yuga, the entire population will consist of malicious, because no one will follow the Vedic principles. At that time, the incarnation of Kalki will appear. Malecha Nava Nidhane Kalayasi Kara Balam. He will kill all the malechas indiscriminately with his sword. Text 34. When the elder Madhuchandas were cursed, the younger 50, along with Madhuchandasa himself, approached their father and agreed to accept his proposal. Dear father, they said, we shall abide by whatever arrangement you like. Oh, that's good. Okay, next. Text 35. Thus the younger Madhuchandas accepted Suna Sepa as their eldest brother and told him, we shall follow your orders. Vishwamrita then said to his obedient sons, because you have accepted Suna Sepa as your eldest brother, I am very satisfied. By accepting my order, you have made me a father of worthy sons, and therefore I bless all of you to become the fathers of sons also. Oh, that's nice. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Of the 100 sons, half disobeyed Vishwamitra by not accepting Sunasepa as their eldest brother. But the other half accepted his order. Therefore, the father blessed the obedient sons to become the fathers of sons. Otherwise, they would have been cursed to be sonless militias. Text 36. Vishwamitra said, O Kusikas, descendants of Koshika, this Devarata is my son and is one of you. Please obey his orders. O King Parikshit, Vishwamitra Vishwamitra had many other sons, such as Astaka, Harita, Jaya, and Ratuman. Text 37. Vishwamitra cursed some of his sons and blessed the others. And he also adopted a son. Thus there were varieties in the Koshika dynasty. But among all the sons, Devarata was considered the eldest. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 9th canto, 16th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam entitled Lord Parashurama Destroys the World's Ruling Class. Chapter 17. The dynasties of the sons of Udurava. Ayu, the eldest son of Udurava, had 5 sons. This chapter describes the dynasties of 4 of them, beginning with Kshatravrida. Ayu, the son of Pururava, had 5 sons: Nahasu, Kshatravidra, Raji, and Rabba, and Anena. The son of Kshatravidha was Suhotra, who had 3 sons, named Kasya, Kusha, Gritsamada. The son of Gritsamada was Sunaka, and his son was Sonaka. The son of Kasya was Kasi. From Kasi came the sons and grandsons known as Rastras. Dear Gautama, Dear Gautama, and then Dhanvantari, who was the inaugurator of medical science and was a Shatavasha incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. The descendants of Dhanvantari were Ketuman, Bhimarata, Divodasa, and Dumya.
Juman.
Or Dyuma. Dyuman, who was also known as Pratardana, Satrujit, Vatsa, Ritadvaja, Kuvalyasya. The son of Dyuman was Alarka, who reigned over the kingdom for many, many years. Following in the dynasty of Alarka were Santati, Suniti, Niketana, Dharmaketu, Satyaketu, Drishsaketu, Sukumara, Vitihotra, Bharga, and Bharga Bhumi. All of them belonged to the dynasty of Kashi, the descendants of Kshatrya Vida. The son of Rabba was Ravasa, and his son was Gambhira. Gambhira's son was Akiriya, and from Akiriya came Ramavit. The son of Ainana was Sudha, and his son was Suchi. The son of Suchi was Chitrakit, whose son was Santaraja. Raji had 500 sons, all of extraordinary strength. Raji was personally very powerful and was given the kingdom of heaven by Lord Indra. Later, after Raji's death, when the sons of Raji refused to return the kingdom to Indra by Brihaspati's arrangement, they became unintelligent and Lord Indra conquered them. The grandson of Kshatrya named Kusha, gave birth to a son named Prati. From Prati came Sanjaya. From Sanjaya, Jaya. From Jaya, Krita. And from Krita, Haryabala. The son of Haryabala was Sahadeva, and the son of Sahadeva, Hina. The son of Hina, Jayasena, and the son of Jayasena, Sankriti, and the son of Sankriti, Jaya. Text 1, 2, 3. Sukadeva Goswami said, from Pururava came a son named Ayu, whose very powerful sons were Nahusa, Kshatravidha, Raji, Rabba, and Anena. O Maharaj Parikshit, now hear about the dynasty of Kshatravidha. Kshatravidha's son was Suhotra, who had three sons named Kasya, Kusha, and Gritsamada. From Gritsamada came Sunaka, and from him came Sonaka, the great saint, the best of those conversant with the Rig Veda. 1 second.
The Shaunak Rishi.
Yeah. Text number 4. The son of Kasya was Kasi, and his son was Rastra, and the father of Dirgatama. Dirgatama had a son named Dhanvantari, who was the inaugurator of the medical science and an incarnation of Lord Vasudeva, the enjoyer of the results of sacrifices. One who remembers the name of Dhanvantari can be released from all disease. Oh, that's nice. Text 5. The son of Dhanvantari was Ketuman. and his son was Bhimarata. The son of Bhimarata was Devodasa, and the son of Devodasa was Dyuman, also known as Pratardana. Text number 6. Dyuman was also known as Satyajit, Vatsa, Ritujva, and Kuvalayasa. From him were born Alarka and other sons. Text number 7. Alarka, the son of Dyuman, reigned over the earth for 66,000 years. My dear King Parikshit, no one other than him has reigned over the earth for so long as a young man. Text number 8. From Alarka came a son named Santati, and his son was Sunita. The son of Sunita was Niketana, and the son of Niketana was Dharmaketu, and the son of Dharmaketu was Satyaketu. Text number 9. Okay, 1 second. O King Parikshit, from Satyaketu came a son named Dristaketu, and from Dristaketu came Sukumara, the emperor of the entire world. From Sukumara came a son named Vitihotra, and from Vitihotra, Bharga, and from Bharga, Bharga Text 10. O Maharaj Parikshit, all of these kings were descendants of Kashi, and they could also be called descendants of Kshatragridha. The son of Rabba was Rabasa. From Rabasa came Gambhira, and from Gambhira came a son named Akira. Text number 11. The son of Akira was known as Brahmavit, O king. Now hear about the descendants of Anena. From Anena came a son named Sudha, and his son was Suchi. The son of Suchi was Dharmasarati, also called Chitrakit. Text 12. From Chitrakit was born a son named Santaraja, a self-realized soul who performed all kinds of Vedic ritualistic ceremonies, and therefore did not beget any progeny. The sons of Raji were 500, all very powerful. Text 13. On the request of the demigods, Raji killed the demons and thus returned to the kingdom of heaven to Lord Indra. But Indra, fearing such demons as Prahlada, returned the kingdom of heaven to Raji and surrendered himself at Raji's lotus feet. Text 14. Upon Raji's death, Indra begged Raji's sons for the return of the heavenly planet. They did not return it, however, although they agreed to return Indra's shares in ritualistic ceremonies. Purport. Raji conquered the kingdom of heaven. And therefore, when Indra, the heavenly king, begged Raji's sons to return it, they refused, because they had not taken the heavenly kingdom from Indra, but had inherited it from their father. They considered it their paternal property. Why then should they return it to the demigods? Text number 15. Thereafter, Brihaspati, the spiritual master of the demigods, offered oblations to the fire so that the sons of Raji would fall from moral principles. When they fell, Lord Indra killed them easily because of their degradation. Not a single one of them remained alive. Text 16. From Kusha, the grandson of Kshatragridha, was born a son named Prati. The son of Prati was Sanjaya, and the son of Sanjaya was Jaya. From Jaya, Krita was born, and from Krita, King Haryabala. 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 Text 17. From Haryabala came a son named Sahadeva, and from Sahadeva came Hina. The son of Hina was Jayasena, and the son of Jayasena was Samkriti. The son of Samkriti was the powerful and expert fighter named Jaya. These kings were the members of the Kshatragridha dynasty. Now, let me describe to you the dynasty of Nahusa. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the ninth canto, 17th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Dynasties of the Sons of Pururava. Chapter 18. King Yayati regains his youth. Again, it's very interesting because uh, he takes his son's
Youth.
and then later on he gives it back. This chapter gives the history of King Yayati, the son of Nahusa. Among Yayati's 5 sons, the youngest son, Puru, accepted Yayati's invalidity, in other words, his old age. When Nahusa, who had 6 sons, was cursed to become a python, his eldest son, Yati, took sannyasa, and therefore the next son, Yayati, was enthroned as king. By providence, Yayati married the daughter of Sukracharya. Sukracharya was a Brahmana and Yayati a Kshatriya, but Yayati married her nonetheless. Sukracharya's daughter, named Devayani, had a girlfriend named Sarmista, who was the daughter of Vishavarva. King Yayati married Sarmista also. The history of this marriage is as follows. Once Sarmista was sporting in the water with thousands of her girlfriends, and Devayani was also there. When the young girls saw Lord Shiva seated on his bull with Uma, they immediately dressed themselves, but Sarmista mistakenly put on Devayani's clothes. Devayani, being very angry, rebuked Sarmista, who also became very angry and responded by rebuking Devayani and throwing her into a well. By chance, King Yayati came to that well to drink water, and he found Devayani and rescued her. Thus Devayani accepted Maharaj Yayati as her husband. Thereafter, Devayani, crying loudly, told her father about Sarmista's behavior. Upon hearing of this incident, Sukracharya was very angry and wanted to chastise Rishabharma, Sarmista's father. Rishabharma, however, satisfied Sukracharya by offering of by second, by offering Sarmista satisfied Sukracharya by offering Sarmista as Devayani's maidservant. Thus Sarmista, as the maidservant of Devayani, also went to the house of Devayani's husband. When Sarmista found her friend Devayani with a son, she also desired to have a son. Therefore, at the proper time for conception, she also requested Maharaj Yayati for sex. When Sarmista became pregnant also, Devyani was very envious. In great anger, she immediately left for her father's house and told her father everything. Sukracharya again became angry and cursed Maharaj Yayati to become old. But when Yayati begged Sukracharya to be merciful to him, Sukracharya gave him the benediction that he could transfer his old age and invalidity to some young man. Yayati exchanged his old age for the youth of his youngest son, Puru, and thus he was able to enjoy with young girls. Okay, second. Sukadev Goswami said, O King Parikshit, as the embodied soul has six senses, King Nahusa had six sons, named Yati, Yayati, Samyati, Ayati, and Viyati, and Kriti. Text 2. When one enters the post of king or head of the government, one cannot understand the meaning of self-realization. Knowing this, Yati, the eldest son of Nahusa, did not accept the power to rule, although it was offered by his father. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Self-realization is the prime objective of human civilization, and it is regarded seriously by those who are situated in the mode of goodness and have developed the Brahminical qualities. Kshatriyas are generally endowed with material qualities conducive to gaining material wealth and enjoying sense gratification. But those who are spiritually advanced are not interested in material opulence. Indeed, they accept only the bare necessities for a life of spiritual advancement in self realization. It is specifically mentioned here that if one enters political life, especially in the modern day, one loses the chance for human perfection. Nonetheless, one can attain the highest perfection if one hears Srimad Bhagavatam. This hearing is described as Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Maharaja Parikshit was involved in politics, but because at the end of his life he heard Srimad Bhagavatam from Sukadeva Goswami, he attained perfection very easily. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has therefore suggested, Stane stata srutigatam tanavan manobir, ye prayaso jita jito pi asi tais tri lokyam. Regardless of whether one is in the mode of passion, ignorance, or goodness, if one regularly hears Srimad Bhagavatam from the self-realized soul, one is freed from the bondage of material involvement. Text number 3. Because Nahusa, the father of Yayati, molested Indra's wife, Sachi, who then complained to Agastya and other Brahmanas, these saintly Brahmanas cursed Nahusa to fall from the heavenly planets and be degraded in the status of a python. Oh boy, a huge snake. Consequently, Yayati became the king. Text 4. King Yayati had 4 younger brothers whom he allowed to rule the 4 directions. Yayati himself married Devayani, the daughter of Sukracharya, and Sarmista, the daughter of Visvaparva, and ruled the entire earth. Text 5. Maharaj Parikshit said, Sukracharya was a very powerful Brahmin, and Maharaja Yayati was a Kshatriya. Therefore, I am curious to know how there occurred this pratiloma marriage between a Kshatriya and a Brahmana. Yeah, that's a special type of relationship. Purport. According to the Vedic system, marriage between Kshatriyas and uh, Kshatriyas or um, according to the Vedic system, marriages between Kshatriyas or between Brahmanas are the general custom. If marriages sometimes take place between different classes, these marriages are of 2 types, namely Anuloma and Pratiloma. Anuloma marriage between a Brahmana and the daughter of a Kshatriya is permissible, but Pratiloma marriage between a Kshatriya and the daughter of a Brahmana is not generally allowed. Therefore, Maharaja Parikshit was curious about how Sukracharya, a powerful Brahmana, could accept the principle of Pratiloma. Maharaja Parikshit was eager to know the cause for this uncommon marriage. Text 6 and 7. Sukadeva Goswami said, one day Rishabharva's daughter, Sarmista, who was innocent but angry by nature, was walking with Devayani, the daughter of Sukracharya, and with thousands of friends in the palace garden. The garden was full of lotuses and trees, of flowers and fruits, and was inhabited by sweetly singing birds and bumblebees. Text number 8. When the young lotus-eyed girls came to the bank of a reservoir of water, they wanted to enjoy by bathing. Thus they left their clothing on the bank and began sporting, throwing water on one another. Text number 9. While sporting in the water, the girl suddenly saw Lord Shiva passing by, seated on the back of his bull with his wife Parvati. Ashamed because they were naked, the girls quickly got out of the water and covered themselves with their garments. Text 10. Sarmista unknowingly put Devayani's dress on her own body, thus angering Devayani, who then spoke as follows. Oh, just see the activities of this servant maid, Sarmista. Disregarding all etiquette, she has put on my dress, just like a dog snatching clarified butter meant for the use in a sacrifice. Oh boy, that's nasty.
That's funny, Maharaj. Like in Bhagavatam, all these stories, what we see.
Well, this is women's fight. Text 12 to 14. We are among the qualified Brahmanas who are accepted as the base of the Supreme Personality of God. The Brahmanas have created the entire universe by their austerity, and they always keep the absolute truth within the core of their hearts. They have directed the path of good fortune, the path of Vedic civilization, and because they are the only worshipable objects within this world, they are offered prayers and worshipped even by the great demigods, the directors of the various planets, and even by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Supersoul, the Supreme Purifier, the husband of the Goddess of Fortune. And we are even more respectable because we are in the dynasty of Brigu. Yet, although this woman's father, being among the demons, is our disciple, she has put on my dress, exactly like a Sudra taking charge of Vedic knowledge. Oh, what? Just imagine what's going to happen. Text 15. Sukadeva Goswami said, when thus rebuked in cruel words, Sarmista was very angry, breathing heavily like a serpent and biting her lower lip with her teeth. She spoke to the daughter of Sukracharya as follows. Oh boy, Sukracharya is brought into the problem now. Text 16. You beggar, since you don't understand your position, why should you unnecessarily talk so much? Don't all of you want at
Wait.
Don't all of you wait at our house, depending on us for your livelihood like crows. Oh my God, that's heavy duty talk
Slam.
here. Purport. Crows have no independent life. They fully depend on the remnants of foodstuffs thrown by householders into the garbage tank. Therefore, because a Brahmana depends on his disciples, when Sarmista was heavily rebuked by Devayani, she charged Devayani with belonging to a family of crow-like beggars. It is the nature of women to fight verbally, and even a slight provocation As we see from this incident, this has been their nature for a long, long time. Oh boy. Yeah.
But Prabhupada has covered all the angles.
Text 17. Using such unkind words, Sarmista rebuked Devayani, the daughter of Sukracharya. Okay, now Daddy's favorite daughter is going to complain to her father. In anger, she took away Devayani's garments and threw Devayani into a well. Oh boy, when women get involved in arguments, it becomes really nasty. Text 18. One second. After throwing Devayani into the well, Sarmista went home. Meanwhile, King Yayati, while engaged in a hunting excursion, went to the well to drink water and by chance saw Devayani. Well, she was naked. Let's see what's going to happen. Seeing Devayani naked in the well, King Yayati immediately gave her his upper claw, being very kind to her. He caught her hand with his own and lifted her out. Text 20-21. With words saturated with love and affection, Devayani said to King Yayati, O great hero, O king, conqueror of the cities of your enemies, by accepting my hand, you have accepted me as your married wife. Yeah, you gotta watch out who you shake hands with. Let me not be touched by others, for our relationship as husband and wife has been made possible by providence, by accident, not by any human being. Purport. While taking Devayani out of the well, King Yayati must certainly have appreciated her youthful beauty. Wow, look, he could see her nakedness, and therefore he might have asked her which caste she belonged to. Thus, Devayani would have immediately replied, we are already married because you have accepted my hand. Uniting the hands of the bride and bridegroom is a system perpetually existing in all societies. Therefore, as soon as Yayati accepted Devayani's hand, they could be regarded as married because Devayani was enamored with the hero Yayati. You gotta watch out who you shake hands with there. With the hero Yayati, she requested him not to change his mind and let another come to marry her. And let another come to marry her. Text 22. Because of falling in the well, I met you. Indeed, this has been arranged by providence. After I cursed Kacha, the son of the learned scholar Brihaspati, he cursed me by saying that I would not have a Brahmana for a husband. Therefore, Almighty Armed One, there is no possibility of my becoming the wife of a Brahmana. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Kacha, the son of the learned celestial priest Brihaspati, had been a student of Sukracharya, from whom he had learned the art of reviving a man who had died untimely. This art, called Mirta
Sanjeev.
Sanjivani, was especially used during wartime. Yeah, because people died or killed, and by this special Mita Sanjivani, they can be brought back to life.
But here, interesting that the Brihaspati was the priest of the all the
Demons.
No, Sukracharya was the priest of the demons.
Okay.
And Brihaspati was for all the devotees, or rather the demigods.
Yeah.
But in this case, the Brihaspati's son was a student of Sukracharya. Interesting.
Okay. Why is that? Well, why is that interesting?
Brihaspati was always, caring for all the demigods. I mean, he is the priest.
Yeah.
And then Sukracharya is the priest for or the guru for all the demons.
Yeah.
But Brihaspati's son was learning from Sukracharya.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. This art called Mita Sanjivani was especially used during wartime. When there was a war, soldiers would certainly die untimely. But if a soldier's body was intact, he could be brought to life again by this art of Mrita Sanjivani. This art was known to Sukracharya and many others. And Kacha, the son of Brihaspati, became Sukracharya's student to learn it.
That's why. The answer is that. He wanted to learn that
Yeah,
art.
I want to learn that also. Devayani desired to have Kacha as her husband, but Kacha, out of regard for Sukracharya, looked upon the Guru's daughter as a respectable superior and therefore refused to marry her. Devayani angrily cursed Kacha by saying that although he had learned the art of Rita Sanjivani from her father, it would be useless. When cursed in this way, Kacha retaliated by cursing Devayani, never to have a husband, who was a Brahmana, because Devayani liked Yayati, who was a Kshatriya. She requested him to accept her as his bona fide wife. Although this would be Pratiloma Vivaha, a marriage between the daughter of a high family and the son of a lower family. She explained that this arrangement was made by providence.
Karma.
Okay. Text 23. Sudhir Goswami continued, because such a marriage is not sanctioned by regular scriptures, King Yayati did not like it, but because it was arranged by providence, and because he was attracted by Devayani's beauty, he accepted her request. Okay. Purport. According to the Vedic system, the parents would consider the horoscopes of the boy and girl who were to be married. If, according to astrological calculations, the boy and girl were compatible in every respect, the match was called Yotaka, and the marriage would be accepted. Even 50 years ago, this system was current in Hindu society. Regardless of the influence of the boy or the personal beauty of the girl, without this astrological compatibility, the marriage would not take place. A person is born in one of three categories, known as Devagana, Manushya Gana, and Rakshasa Gana. In different parts of the universe, there are demigods and demons. And in human society also, some people resemble demigods, whereas others resemble demons. If, according to astrological calculations, there was conflict between a godly and a demoniac nature, the marriage would not take place. Similarly, there were calculations of Pratiloma and Anuloma. The central idea is that if the boy and girl were on an equal level, the marriage would be happy, whereas inequality would lead to unhappiness because care is no longer taken in marriage. We now find many divorces. Indeed, divorce has now become a common affair. Although formerly one's marriage would continue lifelong, and the affection between husband and wife was so great that the wife would voluntarily die when her husband died, or would remain a faithful widow throughout her entire life. Now, of course, this is no longer possible, for human society has fallen to the level of animal society. Marriage now takes place simply by agreement. Dampatye bir ruchir K2 Bhagavatam 12.2.3. The word abhiruchi means agreement. If the boy and girl simply agree to marry, the marriage takes place. But when the Vedic system is not rigidly observed, marriage frequently ends in divorce. Well, there's a lot of divorce nowadays. Text 24. Thereafter, when the learned king returned to his palace, Devayani returned home crying and told her father, Sukracharya, about all that had happened because of Sarmista. She told how she had been thrown into the well, but was saved by the king. Text 25. As Sukracharya listened to what had happened to Devayani, his mind was very much aggrieved, condemning the profession of priesthood and praising the profession of uncha vritti, collecting grains from the field. He left home with his daughter. Purport. When a Brahmana adopts the profession of a kapota or pigeon, he lives by collecting grains from the field. This is called uncha vritti. A Brahmana who takes to this uncha vritti profession is called first class because he depends completely on the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and does not beg from anyone. Although the profession of begging is allowed for a Brahmana or sannyasi, one does better if he can avoid such a profession and completely depend on the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead for maintenance. Sukracharya was certainly very sorry that because of his daughter's complaint, he had to go to his disciple to beg some mercy, which he was obliged to do because he had accepted the profession of priesthood. In his heart, Sukracharya did not like his position, his profession, but since he had accepted it, he was obliged to go unwillingly to his disciple to settle the grievance submitted by his daughter. Text 26. King Rishabharma understood that Sukracharya was coming to chastise or curse him. Consequently, before Sukracharya came to his house, Rishabharma went out and fell down in the street at the feet of his guru and satisfied him, checking his wrath. Text 27. The powerful Sukracharya was angry for a few moments, but upon being satisfied, he said to Rishabharma, "My dear king, kindly fulfill the desire of Devayani, for she is my daughter, and in this world I cannot give her up or neglect her." Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Sometimes a great personality like Sukracharya cannot neglect sons and daughters, for sons and daughters are by nature dependent on their father. And the father has affection for them. Although Sukracharya knew that the quarrel between Devayani and Sarmista was childish, as Devayani's father, he had to side with his daughter. He did not like to do this, but he was obliged to because of affection. Dangerous. He plainly admitted that although he should not have asked the king for mercy for his daughter, because of affection, he could not avoid doing so. Text 28. After hearing Sukracharya's request, Rishabharma agreed to fulfill Devayani's desire, and he awaited her words. Devayani then expressed her desire as follows: "Whenever I marry, by the order of my father, my friend Sarmista must go with me as my maidservant, along with her friends." Okay, she wants to stop uh, Sarmista from having children. Text 29. Rishabharma wisely thought that Sukracharya's displeasure would bring danger and that his pleasure would bring material gain. Therefore, he carried out Sukracharya's order and served him like a slave. He gave his daughter Sarmista to Devayani, and Sarmista served Devayani like a slave, along with thousands of other women. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In the beginning of his affairs concerning Sarmista and Devayani, we saw that Sarmista had many friends. Now, these friends, because
Became.
now these friends became maidservants of Devayani. When a girl married a Kshatriya king, it was customary for all her girlfriends to go with her to her husband's house. For instance, when Vasudeva married Devaki, the mother of Krishna, he married all the 6 of her sisters. And she also had many friends who accompanied her. A king would maintain not only his wife, but also the many friends and maidservants of his wife. Some of these maidservants would become pregnant and give birth to children. Such children were accepted as Dasi Putra, the sons of the maidservants, and the king would maintain them. The female population is always greater than the male, but since a woman needs to be protected by a man, the king would maintain many girls who acted either as friends or as maidservants of the queen. In the history of Krishna's household life, we have found we find that Krishna married 16,108 wives. These were not maidservants, but direct queens, and Krishna expanded himself into 16,108 forms to maintain different establishments for each and every wife. This is not possible for ordinary men. Therefore, although the kings had to maintain many, many servants and wives, not all of them had different establishments. Not all of them had different establishments.
Yeah, I mean, in case of Krishna, he was able to take care of all of them as if they were the normal people. Normal kings cannot do that.
Yeah. Okay, we're almost.
So yeah, we're at a time.
What's that?
It's about 7:40, 7:37.
Yeah. Okay, we'll end there. Let's see. What is our takeaway here? Yeah. Okay. So it's the problem. The problem here is the affairs concerning Sarmista and Devayana. Sarmista had many friends. Now these friends became maidservants of Devayana. When a girl married a Kshatriya king, it was customary for all her girlfriends to go with her to her husband's house. For instance, when Vasudeva married Devaki, the mother of Krishna, she married all 6 of her sisters, and she also had many friends who accompanied her. A king would maintain not only his wife, but also the many friends and maidservants of his wife. Some of these maidservants would become pregnant and give birth to children. Such children were accepted as Dasi Putra, sons of the maidservants, and the king would maintain them. The female population is always greater than the male, but since a woman needs to be protected by man, the king would maintain many girls who acted either as friends or as maidservants of the queen. In the history of Krishna's household life, we find that he married 16,108 wives. These were not maidservants, but direct queens, and Krishna expanded himself into 16,108 forms to maintain different establishments for each and every wife. This is not possible for ordinary men. Therefore, although the kings had to maintain many, many servants and wives, not all of them had different establishments. Well, you can see it's better to be a brahmachari and not have to deal with so many wives. Otherwise, you're going to have to be rich enough to take care of all the wives. and the children that are born of the wives. It's not a nice position to be in because you'll be always dealing with women and children, and there's always jealousy and things like that. It's a very, very bad situation to be in. So it's better to be a brahmachari. Then you don't have to take care of so many people. Okay, we'll stop right there. Are there any questions or comments? Any questions or comments?
These kinds of issues have happened since time.
What?
This jealousy and but every action has consequence, and
Better
but
be a
it's,
brahmachari.
but it also seems like, you know, it's the karma that is playing out, like the providence, as they say it, because somebody cursed Devayani, so in order for that to happen, all this has happened. So it's things always happen as per the karma.
That's why I say it. It's better to be a brahmachari.
Sure.
You don't have to deal with all these women fights. Okay, all glories to Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Imagine having 100 wives. It's like it's very dangerous because each wife wants to spend time with her husband. So as soon as the husband comes home, each wife starts fighting with the other wife to have the time with the husband. Yeah, it's not a good thing. That's why it's recommended to have only one wife. Even one wife, it's very difficult to take care of one wife. Just imagine if you have 50 or 100 wives. It's hell. Okay, all glories to Srila